I'm a 40-year sports card collector, former sports journalist, broadcaster, and teenage sports card dealer. Now I make YouTube videos covering sports cards and talking sports.
Welcome to EDI Sports Show. Hello, my name is Doc, and I'm going to be your host for this brand new show in 2024, right here on EDI Sports Cards. This is a brand new format, and I hope that you enjoy it. There will be some different intros. I'm still playing around with it, but there are four main segments that you're going to get in this show every single week. And the first one is the hot take. The second one is where's the market. The third is behind the scenes. And the last is viewer comments. So you can skip around. You can watch the whole show if you want. But I wanted to just make sure that you know this is what the format will be. So let's go to segment number one, the hot take of the week. There's a feud going on between collectors and influencers, and it's been going on for a couple years since the pandemic started and the boom in the hobby came back. And so on YouTube, we have a whole bunch of influencers trying to sell and hype up cards, and you have fanatics talking about 10xing the hobby. But what exactly does all that mean, and where does that leave you if you're a collector? So I wanted to just take a deep dive look at, well, what does a collector want as opposed to what does an influencer want? So let's start with the influencers. What do they want? Well, they want three things. They want hype, they want attention, and they want views. They don't care what they say, what they do. They don't care about what they promote. As long as they're getting attention, views, and your hype, that's all they care about. And so they've been saying a whole bunch of stuff about product, about cards, about the hobby, and none of those things have been true. In fact, what we've seen since 2019, 2020, and 2021 is that every single thing that an influencer has said has not come true. They told you to buy cards in 2019. That was a bad idea. They told you to sell cards in 2020. Well, that probably was a good idea, except nobody did it, especially the influencers. They said, buy, and you should have been selling. So what should you do now? Well, let's look at what collectors want. Collectors want actual cards. They care about the teams. They care about the players. They care about the sports. But collectors don't seem to get any say in the matter. They don't seem to care. The influencers don't listen to collectors. In fact, the influencers shame and blame collectors for being collectors. So if I go to a sports card show and I talk to a dealer and I say, dude, your prices are way too high, you know what the dealer says to me? You don't know what you're talking about, except that I'm the one with cash. So do you want to sell your cards, or do you like your cards more than money? And that seems to be the problem in the hobby, is that the people who have cards like their cards more than money, and now they're upset that they can't get back the money that they paid for their cards. Don't blame collectors that you made a mistake on paying more for your cards than they were worth. That's my hot take for the week. Where's the market? Every week, I'm going to look at where the market is, if it's going up, if it's going down, what kind of cards you should be looking at, because if you're a collector, you really need to know where is the market. So what I want to do is I want to actually give you like what's going to happen with most of the modern cards that we know in the hobby, and then also what is going on with vintage cards, so pre-1980 cards. So here's the first top line thing that you need to know. The market, modern, 1980 through present, is going to come down another 50%. Now, I'm going to show you two key cards that are in the modern era that you're going to look at and you're going to go, oh yeah, that's probably going to come down another 50%. So the first one I want to look at is a one of one. So these are the manufactured rare cards. They're not rare, they're manufactured rare. And so the first one we're going to look at, the Steph Curry 2019 Mosaic one of one. Okay, so you see it right here. This is listed on eBay right now for $125,000. Guess what? That's going to come down 50%. Because no one's going to buy it. And the reason is because it's not worth $125,000. you're out of your mind if you pay $125,000, unless you truly, truly want this card. Like if you think this card is gorgeous and you want it for your PC and you care more about the card than the money, then buy this card. But it's not worth $125,000. In fact, it's worth 50% less. Now, let's look at the second card. The second one, this is a 2018 Panini Luka Doncic. Now, this is also a one-of-one card. And as you can see, it is also listed for $125,000. Now, I don't think I have to convince you of anything. You're a collector, and you know, first of all, Steph Curry has championships. So if his one-of-one is worth $125,000, well, then Luka's definitely not worth $100,000. How could he be worth more than Curry? Curry's proven himself in the NBA. Curry is a champion. Curry is a all-star. Curry's going to the Hall of Fame. Luka hasn't done anything. So how could his card be worth $125,000? It can't, which is why you're going to see a 50% drop in 2024 on all of these modern cards. Now, what do you do with vintage? Now, I'm talking pre-1980. Now, there's multiple classes in vintage, but I'm just going to say overall, if you're buying a card pre-1980, pretty much you're at the bottom. There's nowhere really left for it to go. First of all, that market has hit the bottom. Yes, there are certain cards that are going to be fluctuating, but for the most part, all of those cards have really just hit the bottom. If you want to buy pre-vintage, now's the time to buy, because the prices are not really going to go much lower. They're really at the bottom. Now, what you need to know is a concept, and I'll probably talk about this next week, is the concept of the gold standard. There are certain players that are gold standards in the hobby, and those players are the ones, if you're looking to buy a collection that's going to retain value over a long period of time, then those are the players that you want to buy. Otherwise, if you just want to build a collection, just buy what you love, buy what you like, and don't worry about what influencers have to say. I really love this next segment. This is behind the scenes, and I've been trying to figure out a way to actually tell you guys about some of the stuff that I'm working on in some way that would be interesting. I don't know, but this is where we are. Behind the scenes, I can actually talk about things just openly and just be like, hey, this is what I'm working on. So if you're a subscriber to the channel, then you already know. You've seen all of the playlists. You've seen all the different videos. You even saw my first web series that I did, my sports card journey. I am working on season 2 right now. I'm trying to make it even better. I'm even working with maybe doing it as a documentary style so that it's a little bit more interesting. One of the things that's hard to do is really from someone who I used to work in film and television, but I haven't done that in a long time. And so trying to transition from being in education for 20 years, going back into the visual medium, it was tough. Like I had to figure out, how do I tell this story visually? And I feel like I've gotten my legs back under me. And so there's a whole bunch of stuff coming out from this channel. I want you to keep looking at the polls, because in the next segment, I'm actually going to do viewer comments. We're going to go over the polls and the surveys. If you're not following me on either X or Instagram, EDI Sports Cards, please follow me now. I will put out polls there. You can also reach out to me. If you have a story that you want to tell, please reach out to me on X or Instagram. Again, EDI Sports Cards. Let me know what story you have. If you want, I can interview you. That's all the stuff we can do with this show every single week. It's going to be fun. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to have a blast. We're going to do a lot of stuff right here on EDI Sports Cards. So anyway, what I want you to do is I definitely want you to go watch season 1 of my sports card journey. It kind of explains where I came from, my origin story, if it will. From all the comments that I've gotten, people thought it was entertaining. It is supposed to be tongue-in-cheek. This is the sports cards, folks. We're not here. We're not solving brain cancer. We're not here doing, we're not rocket scientists. This is sports cards. So let's have some fun. Let's kind of do it that way. Now, for anybody that is a Ranger fan, so this channel, EDI Sports Card, is basically all about sports and sports cards. If you're a Ranger fan, I also am writing a newsletter that covers all 82 games this regular season plus the playoffs for Ranger fans. So if you want that, the link will be in the description below. You can subscribe. It's 100% free, and you will get great coverage of all the games this season. Other than that, let's go to the viewer comments. The first comment comes from Collector Not Hoarder. They say they're worried about the Seaver card, which I had sent in for grading, coming back as altered. My question is, why wouldn't you pay to get it graded? You basically said it yourself. Pay a few dollars to grade it, then sell it if for a few $1,000s more. Just seems suspicious that you want someone else to make the money. Thank you for the comment. Now, I don't want to seem suspicious at all, so actually I'm going to show you or reveal to you that I got the Seaver graded and I came back a 6.5. Now, the reason that I had asked the question originally was because I was trying to leave some meat on the bone, so to speak, for dealers, because I knew that this card would come back. I thought it was going to come back a 6. It actually came back a 6.5, so it was better than I thought it was going to be. And my point being is that at this point, the card is worth around $2,000. As an ungraded card, it wasn't even worth over $1,000, which meant that if you bought the card and you went and got it graded for $15, you would make $1,000 on the card. And I understand that some people feel that's suspicious. Why wouldn't you make the money on it? And my point was, if I could sell it quicker, ungraded, because some people like to buy ungraded cards and then grade them themselves to get the value out of it. And a lot of you, I don't understand this whole aversion to buying ungraded cards, especially if you know who the seller is. And I've met a lot of these dealers at this point. I've worked with them. I've talked to them for 3 years. So they know that when I say this is a card that I've had for X amount of years, that I'm telling the truth. And so that's the point, is if you're trying to find ways to make money, well, buying this card ungraded was the best way to make money for you. You lost that opportunity. So now if you want this card, we all know what it's worth. And so now you have to pay closer to what it's worth. You could have made the money. Instead, I'm going to make the money. Now, I'm not upset about that, but I just thought it would be easier and faster to sell it to a dealer who wants to make money. That's what their business is. I'm not trying to be a dealer anymore. I'm done with my dealing days. I'm trying to just sell part of my collection so that I can curate a PC. And in order to do that, I have to sell cards like this so that I make some money in order to put into other cards. Anyway, that's the answer to that question. The next comment comes from Robert Miles 6805. He says, them autos are fire. Yes, I would get them authenticated, not graded. Thank you for the comment. Actually, I don't have the cards. I sent them into PSA to get authenticated, but I do want to thank you for saying I would not get them graded. I would only get them authenticated because that is an option. And so when I sent them in, PSA asked, do I want to grade or do I want to authenticate? And I just did the authentication. Now, I haven't come back yet. I'm waiting for them. It's been 2 months already. And as you know, PSA is not on anyone else's time frame other than theirs. So hopefully I'll get them back by the end of January. But we'll see. But when I do, I will let you guys know how they came back. If they all came back authenticated, they should, since I'm the one that personally got them signed by the players. But I will let you know and I'll show you on the channel. The next comment comes from John Baranzelli, 3090. He says, Henderson and Schmidt definitely. The others, I would have to run an ROI analysis. Thank you for the comment. I have cards coming back from SGC. So here you go. So here's the Ricky Henderson. This came back a 6.5. Not bad. again, these are older cards, so it's hard to get them in high grade condition, but a 6.5 is not bad. Now, I did also get the Mike Schmidt graded, and that also came back a 6. Pretty happy with that. That's a pretty decent grade. And I know some people had actually said, don't grade the Cal Ripken rookie. It looks a little weak. And you were right. It was a little weak. It came back a 4.5. So those were some of the cards that I sent in. I want to thank you all for the comments. We got one more to go. Here you go. The next comment comes from Pedro Sereno, 5695. He says, nice video. Justin Gamble should take notes. Always motivating people not to go to shows. What a clown. I want to thank you for that comment. Amazing. That comment was made about 5 months ago, and since then, Justin Gamble is gone. So obviously people come and go. I've been in the hobby for 40 years or slightly over 40 years. I'm not going anywhere. I started a YouTube channel just because I like talking about sports and sports cards. I've had some brief interactions with some of you guys on YouTube. I appreciate all the comments. I've had thousands of comments made on my channel, so it's hard to go through all of them. One of the things I really like about doing this format is that I can now go to the comment section and start pulling out some of the comments that you guys make. If you ask more questions in the comments, I will answer questions every week on this show. So if you want to do that, please put your questions in the comments. I want to thank everybody for joining me this week. I'll see you next week on EDI Sports Show.